Hello there guys, RMP792 here. Reviewing and criticism. There's this ongoing group of people, in fact it's not even a group, it's just a lot of individuals, who keep arguing that all reviews should be completely impartial and should be completely objective, and those people are deluding themselves, because there is no such thing as an objective review. A review is an opinion. The main reason that I want to talk about this specifically today is that before I went out yesterday, and then I've been meaning to record this for a couple of days, but I spent most of this morning repairing a fence. But anyway, that's not important. I got a fairly lengthy comment on my Princess Evangile review, and that is, to the best of my knowledge, the only video of mine that actually has more dislikes than likes. That's probably because it's been seen by a reasonable number of people, because it's also the only negative Steam review of that game, and there's a few people who seem a bit ticked off about that. So there are quite a few people who are less than happy with me about that. But this particular person, I've got a comment here, has basically written what is, to all intents and purposes, a short essay, just criticising my review and commenting on why I'm clearly wrong. Here's the thing. The question of what is and what isn't a legitimate complaint or legitimate criticism of a thing, there are no illegitimate criticisms of a thing. No, I'm deadly serious. In his comment, this particular person actually says, where is it? To use complete lack of interactivity as a talking point is beyond asinine, as it would be the equivalent as to be astonished by the absence of romantic development in an FPS like Call of Duty. To which my honest question is, why isn't that a legitimate criticism of Call of Duty? I'm deadly serious. I would love there to be more romance in things, providing it's done well. It's not a bad thing. Is its absence, to be expected? Yes. Does it mean you can't comment on it? Of course not. I'm sorry, I would love a Call of Duty game to throw in a really good, well-written romance, and hell, just to really confuse the hell out of their main fan base, why not? Or making a romance between a male character and another male character. They're never going to do it, but that doesn't mean we can't say this would be an interesting thing for them to do and I'd like to see it. And at the same time, would that make me buy a Call of Duty game? No, because I never have, and I almost certainly never will, because it's just not something that appeals to me. But at the end of the day, the classic comment of, and again, quoting directly, I can only suggest what another has said here, get back to reviewing things that you have the slightest clue about. No. For the simple reason that there is an argument to be made that if you only look at the stuff you are most familiar with, the stuff you know most about, you're going to stagnate. You are going to get stuck in one particular place, just doing the same things over and over again. And that's not what life should be. Life should be about trying new things, trying new experiences. Some you're going to like, some you're going to hate, but it's about trying different things. And my complaints and my comments about Princess Evangile are not, completely misinformed because I've never played before, or I've never played visual novels before, because A, I have, B, the fact that this is what the medium traditionally is, means that, fair enough, I have problems with the traditional way the medium is implemented. And I'm not saying that I am right and this person is wrong. What I am saying is that, in my opinion, the game would have been better if it had had some gameplay in it. Now, does that mean that, every visual novel is bad for not having gameplay? No, because, again, as I said, I can get past the lack of gameplay if the story is good and interesting enough. Let's face it, I put Deus Machina Demon Bane in my top 6 this year. That has no gameplay of any kind, but because it's well written enough that I started to get really into the action scenes towards the end, I didn't get too bored with it. Did I have problems with it? Absolutely I did. And I still maintain it would have been a better game with gameplay elements, but that doesn't stop me potentially enjoying certain bits of it. Same goes for pretty much any form of criticism. As I said, there is this idea of the perfect objective review, which basically means it's a review that agrees with whatever the person wants to hear. That really is it. Because the problem is that we love to hear people agree with us, and we automatically want to argue and debate with people who disagree with us. I'm all for that. I actually happen to think that reasoned, logical debate is the way that we get better. The problem is a lot of people have a habit of jumping right past reasoned, logical debates to shouting match, death threats, and everything else. And the internet really is, it tends to condense that. Back in the days when we had to write angry letters to each other, it took a while for you to get that. Now it's instantaneous. Which law of the internet is it that if an argument goes on for long enough, someone sooner or later will mention either Hitler or the Nazis? And it's very true, because internet arguments are they're microcosms, and they just build and build and build very quickly. And it's interesting, I'm a really weird person. I really love reading reviews from people who dislike things that I like. I love going through IMDb, looking up a film that I like, and just scrolling through the reviews until I find the 1-star one, and just reading through it. I find that fun. But a lot of people get very angry when people don't like the things that they do. I'm actually the opposite way around. I find people liking things that I dislike much more annoying. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't stand in the street and argue with someone. I wouldn't send a really long ranty comment. But again, there's no real problem with that. I just dislike the basic premise of this person's comment, in that, as I say, that they argue that because I don't seem to know what a visual novel is, that I shouldn't be reviewing them. No. Again, my attitude to that is very much, you need to try new things. You need to look at different stuff and see if it's right for you. And I never claim that my personal feelings are the only thing that matter. Of course not. Let's face it, if you like a thing, fantastic, enjoy it. Don't worry if somebody else doesn't. The whole point of looking at reviews really is to find a reviewer whose views and opinions you generally agree with, and use them as a guide to see if you think you'll like a thing. That is the point of reviews. And at the end of the day, I wouldn't go to a reviewer who's massively into horror games. I wouldn't bother looking up their review of a horror game to really get their opinion on it, because I don't like horror games. But at the same time, just because I generally don't like horror games doesn't mean I'm unwilling to try one once in a while and see if I found one that's actually going to make me change my mind on the genre. Because as I say, up until a couple of years ago, I had never played a visual novel, because I'd just never really seen, they weren't really on Steam that much, and I wasn't going to go out of my way and order one from Japan because I'd never heard of them. But then I played Lorraine the Amazon Princess, which was the first sort of real visual novel-y type game that I played, and I really enjoyed it. And part of the experience that made that so good was the fact that it had really good, solid gameplay. And as a result, I got into a few others. The main one that I still maintain is one of the best games best game I played last year, that I took the #1 spot on the best of list, was Sunrider. And that was a hell of a game. And that was again because it was really good story, really well told, solid characters, and it combined with really interesting gameplay. And that game had pretty much everything I would have wanted. And again, would it have been better with some serious voice acting? Yes, rather than just me doing every character voice. But again, that is a legitimate criticism. But just because most visual novels don't, that doesn't stop it from being a valid criticism. It's a point that I think could be a potential way to improve what's already there. So did I like Princess Evangile? No. But does that make but just because it's not my traditional genre to all intents and purposes, does that make my opinion on it any less valid? No, of course not. Because at the end of the day, we should always try new things. We should always look for new experiences. And at the end of the day, that's what Princess Evangile was for me. I'd never played a game that was that long, that had that little to do. And I still maintain that's a problem with it. But that's a problem to my personal tastes. If you don't have a problem with it, fine. And again, this person has commented that, me being picky about the character of Konomi. I mean, me being a bit uncomfortable by the way the game kind of sexualizes her, even though she's drawn like she's about 13. Again, that is a valid complaint, criticism for me to make, because that is how I personally feel. If you are fine with it, okay! Yo, and you can't use the whole, oh, but it's their culture. And there are places in the world where female genital mutilation is part of the culture. That doesn't stop me getting any less skeeved out by it. Yo, it really is one of those things that I can understand why somebody else not liking a thing you do makes you upset. But at the same time, arguing that somebody shouldn't try a thing or should just, ignore their criticisms because it's just not for them? No. I will always listen to criticisms from people who don't like a thing, because at the end of the day, that might help it get better. Because sometimes you need somebody who's never seen a thing before to completely look in and say, yeah, this has a problem here, this has a problem there, this has a problem there, and here's potential ways to fix that and make the thing better as a whole. So yeah, at the end of the day, that's very much how I feel on that regard. And there was a great video from Jim Sterling a while back where he basically said, the idea of a purely objective review is a fallacy, because he made a purely objective review of, I think it was Final Fantasy 13, and it's basically him just listing statistics about the game, because if you're being completely objective, you're not giving any opinions at all, and every review is an opinion. There is a reason why I don't give out any kind of score. I don't give out any kind of... I don't have a metric system for how I judge games, because at the end of the day, I sum up every review with, did I enjoy it? Do I think it's personally worth the money that you would be paying for it? I tend to break games down into one of three categories, which is worth buying at the current price, wait for a sale, or don't buy it at all. That really is the simple way that I break this stuff down. But again, that's always a judgment call, and you can be free to disagree with it, because it is just my opinion. As I think it's mostly that I dislike the argument that I should, as it says, go and review things that I know something about. Because I'd rather try new things, I'd rather try new experiences. And maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised, maybe I'll find a thing and think, no, this just ain't for me. But at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. So, yeah. That was basically a 13-minute video in which I basically reply to a 6 paragraphs long comment. So, yeah. So, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in future videos.